Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm here with this important chapter of plant physiology, that is mineral nutrition in plants. I will try to cover this chapter in two parts. This is part one. Firstly, what are minerals? As we know that minerals are those elements which are present on Earth's surface and in some foods that our body need to develop and function normally. So this is very important for normal functioning and growth of an organism's body. Similarly, plants also require these minerals through the soil as an external source because they can synthesize their own food. Most of plants are autotrophic in nature. Because they are important constituents of the plant body, they also help in maintaining osmotic potential of cell and permeability of membrane. In addition to this, minerals plays an important role in catalytic functions. It means they help in activating and inactivation of certain enzymes. Some elements plays important role in maintaining the buffer action, and some elements have antagonistic effect, means they can inhibit the toxic effect of other element. Like we have iron, its high concentration can antagonize the toxicity of manganese. And if there is some deficiency of a particular element in the plants, it shows a particular symptom for that. And we can overcome that deficiency by applying the element externally. So these are very important component of plant's body and to perform its normal function and development. So that's why we need to study the mineral nutrition in plants. We will discuss these things one by one in detail. Let's start. As we know that every living organism require nutrients for its survival because they have multiple functions in the body, so they are required by every living organism. As we know that plants are autotrophic, it means they can synthesize their own food and depends for external supply of elemental or inorganic nutrients for their proper growth and functioning. We have elements such as carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, calcium, aluminium, iron, sodium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, silicon, magnesium, etc., which constitute nearly 99% of elemental composition of the environment. So environment में जो भी elements हैं उनका 99% जो composition that is made up of these elements, and the rest 1% is made up of arsenic, cadmium, cobalt, copper, chromium, mercury, molybdenum, manganese, nickel, lead, selenium, zinc, etc. And these are commonly known as trace element because they are present at very little amount in the environment. As we know that carbon, oxygen and hydrogen, which are considered as non-mineral elements because they are not obtained from soil, ये present होते हैं atmosphere में और plants इन्हें लेते हैं atmosphere से. The first study which shows that these nutrients plays important role in plants was carried out by Van Helmont. So first time study on material nutrients was carried out by Van Helmont. The next study was done by D. Saussure, who does the analysis of plant ash that shows that there are 92 mineral elements which are present in different plants, and out of these 30 elements are present in each and every plant. सभी plants में 30 elements present होते हैं and rest are in one or other plants, और जो rest elements हैं वो सब में fix नहीं है, they can vary. So this table shows the essential and beneficial elements in higher plants. First, the green color box represents the essential mineral elements, then this blue color box represents the essential non-mineral elements, which are basically hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, then beneficial mineral elements, which is represented by this yellow color box. So this shows the classification of these essential elements which are required by higher plants. Out of these 30 elements, commonly 20 elements are taken necessary for plants and are called essential elements. So जो ये 20 elements हैं, they play very important role in plants, which are considered as essential elements, which are as follows. Like we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, copper, boron, zinc, manganese, molybdenum and chloride. So जो क्लोरीन है, so ये जो elements हैं ये important role play करते हैं plants में to make proper functioning of the plant. So that's why these are known as essential elements. Its historical background. So the first work in this field was done by Van Helmont. First time study on material nutrients was carried out by Van Helmont in 1648. Next was Mayhow in 1656. He observed that the plant growth increased when saltpeter, that is potassium nitrate, was added to the soil. That acted as a source of nitrogen. Next was Woodward in 1699. He observed that plant grows better in muddy water than in clear rainwater. He experimentally proved that water and minerals were essential for plant growth and development. Next was de Saussure in 1804. He observed that minerals present in plant ash, which is formed after the burning of plant parts, are obtained from the soil through the root system of the plant. He experimentally proved that nitrogen and mineral elements are essential for growth and development of the plant. Next was Sachs and Knopp in 1830. Using hydroponic cultures, prepared a list of essential elements which are required by plants for normal growth and development. Hydroponic culture means which is a soilless culture in which we add all the nutrients in the water and we can grow the plants on that water or culture solution. Next was Liebig 1940. He proposed a famous law which is known as law of minimum, which states that the yield of a crop plant is determined by the amount of the necessary element which is present in minimum quantity in proportion to the demand of the plant. तो जो क्रॉप की yield है वो डिटरमाइन करता है वो एसेंशियल एलिमेंट जो सबसे कम अमाउंट में प्रेजेंट होता है. दिस इज कॉल्ड लॉ ऑफ मिनिमम which was given by Liebig in 1940. Next comes criteria for essentiality of elements, which were first of all given by Arnon and Stout. So what are the various characteristic features of these elements which are essential? First is the plant is not able to grow normally and hence unable to complete its life cycle in the absence of essential elements. So essential elements के बिना जो plant है अपना life cycle ही complete नहीं कर पाता है. This is the first criteria. Next criteria, it cannot be replaced by other element. तो ये जो essential element है इसे हम, for example, we have magnesium, which is essential element. If we can't replace it with other element, however close it may be in the periodic table. चाहे जितना मर्जी close हो ये periodic table में, it is highly specific. Next, if any element is absent in plant, it must show symptom. तो essential element अगर absent है soil में तो plant इसके symptom show करेगा, deficiency symptom. These symptoms can only be corrected by a particular element. For example, brown heart disease of cabbage, which is caused by deficiency of boron, and it can be corrected by adding only boron. तो ये किसी और element के addition से ठीक नहीं होगा. So these are some important features. Like next, it must play specific role in metabolism of the plant. So these are some important features of the elements to comes under the category of essential elements. Next is classification of these nutrients. So they are classified on the basis of different criteria. Firstly, we have classification of nutrients on the basis of quantity required by the plants. Second is classification on the basis of mobility of these nutrients in the soil. And the third one is classification on the basis of function performed by these nutrients in the plant. And final, classification on the basis of mobility within the plant. So the first category is on the basis of quantity required. So how much amount of these nutrients are required by the plants? So first are the basic nutrients. So these are the major nutrients which are non-mineral elements, and they are obtained. They are not obtained from the soil, and they form approximately 96% of the total dry weight of the plant. So these are non-mineral nutrients and constitute approximately 96% of total dry matter of the plant. For example, we have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Next comes macronutrients, as the name indicates. So these nutrients are required in large amount by the plants. So required in large quantities, and their concentration in the cell is more than 1 milligram per grams of the dry weight. So जो plant का dry weight है 1 ग्राम, उसमें 1 मिलीग्राम concentration होनी चाहिए in nutrients की. So उन nutrients को हम रखेंगे इस category में, that is called macronutrients. These are also called as major nutrients, and they are divided into two categories. One is the primary major or macronutrients, and the second is the secondary macronutrients. First is primary. So these are required in proper ratio for optimum growth and development. For example, we have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Then the next is secondary major or macronutrients. These are required in less quantity as compared to the primary one. For example, we have calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. So this is the classification of macronutrients, that is primary macronutrients and secondary macronutrients. Then we have these non-mineral nutrients like we have hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. Next comes micronutrients. So these are the nutrients which are required in small quantities by the plants. कम मात्रा में plants को ये चाहिए. Their concentration in plants is less than 1 milligram per gram of the dry weight. So ऐसे nutrients जिनका amount less than 1 milligram per gram of dry weight present होता है plant में, these are kept under this category, that is micronutrients. These are also known as minor nutrients. For example, we have manganese, iron, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, and chlorine. So these are the nutrients which are considered as micronutrients. The next category of classification of these nutrients is on the basis of mobility in the soil. So how much mobile these elements are in the soil. This is the next criteria for classification of these nutrients. Firstly, we have mobile nutrients. As the name indicates, these nutrients are highly soluble and they are not absorbed on the clay complexes. For example, we have nitrate ion, then sulfate ion, borate ion, chloride ion, and manganese ion. Next category is less mobile nutrients. So these elements or nutrients are also soluble, but they are adsorbed on the clay complex. But ये हो जाते हैं adsorb on the clay complex. They have reduced mobility. For example, we have this ammonia ion, then we have potassium, calcium ion, magnesium ion, and copper ion. Next category is immobile nutrients. As the name indicates, these nutrients are highly reactive and they form strong complexes in the soil. That's why they are not available for the plants, like we have phosphoric acid and hydrogen phosphate ion, then zinc ion. So this is the classification of nutrients on the basis of mobility in the soil. The next criteria for classification is on the basis of functions in the plants. So what are the various functions which are carried out by these nutrient elements in the plants? Firstly, the elements which provide basic structure to the plants, like we have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Next, elements useful in energy storage and transfer. It include nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. Next, elements necessary for charge balance, like we have potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Among these, potassium ion is very important, which helps in balancing the osmotic potential of the plant. It also helps in opening and closing of the stomata. Next, elements involved in enzyme activation and electron transfer, like we have iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, and chlorine. Next, beneficial nutrients, which include sodium, silicon, and vanadium. So these are the various elements or nutrients which plays very important role and perform a particular function in the plants. Next criteria for classification is on the basis of mobility within the plant. So some elements which are highly mobile, like we have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which can be transferred from older part of the plant to the younger portion of the plant. Next, we have moderately mobile, like zinc. Then less mobile, like we have sulfur, iron, manganese, chloride ion, then molybdenum, and copper. Next comes immobile elements or nutrients, like we have calcium and boron. So these are the immobile nutrients or elements in the plants. Next comes nutrient solution. As the name indicated, is a solution which contains all the nutrients in a balanced proportion which are required for normal growth and functioning of the plants. So various researchers have been devised various methods of preparation of nutrient solutions, which are soilless cultures. The most popular and most used nutrient solution in the world today is Hoagland solution, and it was developed by Hoagland and Arnon in 1938, and this method was revised by Arnon in 1950. It provides every essential nutrients which are necessary for the plant growth and normal development, and nowadays this is the most commonly used in hydroponics studies, which is the soilless culture in which we grow the plants in liquid medium or solutions which contain all the nutrients which are required for plant growth and development. This is the table which shows the composition of modified Hogland nutrient solution for growing plants. So it contains macronutrients, then we have micronutrients and some other optional nutrients. So this is the numerical figures or values which are required for the preparation of this solution, which is most accepted solution for the hydroponics studies. Next, we have some advanced techniques which are used for plant growth, like hydroponics and aeroponics. Hydroponics is a technique of growing plants in water. Water contains all the essential nutrients which are required for normal functioning and growth of plants. So it's a technique of growing plants in water. And the water-soluble nutrients are added to the water where plants are grown without soil. So this is a soil-less culture. ये एक soil-less culture वाली टेक्निक है जिसमें plants को बिना soil के grow करते हैं. Air is usually mixed with hydroponic solution to provide it to the roots. So a continuous supply of air is required. तो उसे ये provide किया जाता है इसमें. Sometimes we use certain inert media such as we have sand, perlite, vermiculture, etc. that can be used to give support to the root system. तो ये हम कभी use करते हैं in this hydroponics technique. So in this program we can see here, तो ये जो root system है ये water में suspended होता है and it absorb all the nutrients which are dissolved in the water, and they plays very important role in plant growth. So this is a soil-less culture. Next comes aeroponics. In this technique of growing plants, we use the mist or fine spray of water droplets which contain the dissolved nutrients. So nutrients की spray की जाती है, जो roots होती हैं they are suspended in the air और वो roots इसको absorb करती हैं. So that's why this is known as aeroponic. So it is a type of hydroponic system where the roots are continuously or discontinuously kept in an environment saturated with fine drops of nutrients. तो इसमें एक स्पेशल सिस्टम से हम छोटी छोटी ड्रॉपलेट्स को एयर में थ्रो करते हैं और जो रूट्स हैं दे आर ऑलवेज सराउंडेड और सैचुरेटेड विद दिस ड्रॉपलेट्स of nutrient solution. In this method required the roots to be suspended in air. जो roots हैं plant की वो suspended होती हैं air में, और growth chamber with the roots are periodically wetted with the fine mist of atomized nutrients. तो इसमें एक fine mist और spray किस machines के द्वारा की जाती है, and these roots are continuously saturated with these mist particles or mist droplets which contain all the nutrients. So this technique of growing plant is known as aeroponics. And the third technique is aquaponics. इसमें हम plants को grow करते हैं water में. In addition to this, we also rear the fishes. So in this photograph we can see here, तो इसमें water में plants को grow करते हैं, but in addition to this we rear the fishes also. So it is a type of hydroponics which combines the use of fish and plant. Fish excrements are used as a source of nutrients for the plants. जो भी इसका excretory material है fishes का, वो nutrients की तरह act करता है plants के लिए. Next comes some important definitions which are used in this mineral nutrition chapter. The first comes chlorosis. It is the failure or disintegration of chlorophyll development in the leaf tissue due to some mineral deficiency or infection. It is also called physiological disease, which occurs due to deficiency of certain minerals such as iron, magnesium, and nitrogen. Next comes etiolation. This is the yellowing or whitening of the green plant parts when they are kept in dark condition, and this is known as etiolation. Etiolation is a physiological phenomenon exhibited by green plants when grown in darkness. Then the third this photograph we can see here, जो pale yellowish color की seedlings हैं, they develop as a result of darkness, और ये ज़्यादा elongated होती हैं as compared to the plants which are grown in sunlight. Third is necrosis. This is the death of cell and tissue. So black color के patches दिखाई देते हैं हमें plant parts पे. So this photograph shows a symptom of necrosis. Then next comes stunted growth. It means plant failed to gain the normal height and remains dwarf. Like this, we can see here. This is the dwarf plant. Next comes abscission. So it is the process when leaves, flowers, fruit show an early fall due to abscission. So this is the basically falling off leaves or other floral parts or plant parts from the plant is known as abscission. Next comes mottling. It is the appearance of green and non-green areas on the plant parts, or especially on the leaves. This is known as mottling that we can see in this photograph. So these are some important definitions. Next comes functions of mineral nutrients. So these mineral nutrients have a lot of functions that we have already discussed. Some of them they are the important components of the plant body, means they are the important constituents of the plant body. Like we have some non-mineral elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, which forms the maximum dry weight of the plant body. So the non-mineral elements, like we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, they constitute approximately 96% of the plant body on dry weight basis. तो जो प्लांट का ड्राई वेट है उसमें 96% जो ड्राई वेट that is formed from these non-mineral elements, that is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. The next, they are the constituents of organic molecules, and they are found in protoplasm, which is a life forming matter, and cell wall of the plant. So ये तीनों ही जो mineral elements हैं ये present होते हैं protoplasm में भी और cell wall के components भी हैं. Next we have elements like nitrogen and sulfur, which are the important component of proteins. तो ये integral part है proteins के, proteins बनाने में ये help करते हैं. Next we have phosphorus, which is the important component of nucleic acid, means जो RNA और DNA है उसका component है ये phosphorus. It is, in addition to this, it is also an important component of energy currency, that is ATP. Then there are some nutrients which helps in maintaining the osmotic potential of cell. So they helps in maintaining the osmotic potential. The concentration of mineral salts and organic compounds determine the osmotic potential of the plant cell, and this osmotic potential is very important for maintaining cell turgidity and absorption of water. तो जो osmotic potential है उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि जो plant cell है वो water का intake करेगा, means it will helps in maintaining the turgidity of cell, intake of water. Like we have potassium ion, which plays important role in opening and closing of stomata. Next, there are certain nutrients which helps in increasing the or maintaining the permeability of the membranes. तो membranes की जो permeability है उसको maintain करने में help करता है. Like we have some monovalent cations or anions which helps in increasing the permeability. Like we have sodium ion, which is a monovalent ion. It means कि इसमें एक सोडियम के ऊपर एक सिंगल पॉजिटिव चार्ज होता है. सो ये जो आयन है it plays an important role in increasing the permeability of cell membrane, while we have some divalent ions like calcium ion, they helps in increasing the permeability. तो जो ये nutrients हैं ये important role play करते हैं in the maintenance of permeability of membranes. Next function is catalytic effect. There are many nutrient elements which plays important role in maintaining the catalytic properties of various enzymes. Like we have iron, zinc, copper, manganese, magnesium and cobalt. They have important catalytic function in enzymes. तो ये जो enzyme की catalytic functions हैं उन्हें control करते हैं, उन्हें maintain करते हैं. They function as prosthetic group, और ये prosthetic group के रूप में function करते हैं. Next comes buffer action. There are certain mineral elements which helps in maintaining the pH in the cellular compartment. So the mineral elements function as major buffer system of the plants. They regulate the pH of cellular system. तो जो pH है उसको maintain करते हैं. There are certain elements. Next, maintenance of electrostatic neutrality, means they helps in maintaining the cationic and anionic balance in the cell. So they helps the cell in maintaining the electrostatic neutrality. For example, we have cations such as sodium, potassium ion, calcium ion, magnesium ion. They balance the anions. Like we have chloride ions. Anions जो negatively charged particles elements हैं उन्हें balance करने में ये help करते हैं. Next, there are certain elements that helps in phloem transport, means phloem loading में और translocation में help करते हैं. Like we have boron and potassium. They helps in the translocation of organic solutes in the phloem, organic and inorganic acids. So they plays very important role in phloem translocation. Next, we have certain mineral elements which have toxic effects at their higher concentrations. So when present in concentration higher than the optimum, जो normal concentration required है जब उससे concentration ज़्यादा होती है, so they show some toxic effects on the plants. For example, we have copper, zinc, manganese, etc. They cause metal toxicity in the plants, or we can say metal stress in the plants. So there are some symptoms like spots, sclerosis, blight, leaf roll, oxidative stresses. So these are caused by the toxic effects of the metals. Next comes antagonistic effects. Antagonistic means opposite or counter effect. So there are certain mineral elements which are countered by another mineral elements. Some mineral elements have antagonistic or counter effects. For example, we have iron. When it is present in the medium, its effect of toxic concentration, it can neutralize the toxic effect of higher concentration of manganese, that is 300 to 400 ppm. It is neutralized with the help of iron. So iron is present in the medium. Effect of toxic concentration of manganese is neutralized with the help of iron. So that is called antagonistic effect. It means that iron can counter the effect of manganese. This was all about for our today's discussion about mineral nutrition. Hope you will get some idea from this presentation. If you have any questions, queries, and any suggestions, you can give it in comment section. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.